so much for doing this interview with me. CBC building, we're talking about new shows. This one, Fortunate Son. How do you guys feel about being part of something that's brand new, but also at the same time, it's going back in history on something that I don't think a lot of people have ever really talked about?
No, it's super exciting, actually. We've been talking a lot when we were shooting and also now about how much the 60s kind of play in your when you're thinking back to a time that you would have liked to have been born in, and when you would have liked to have sort of the music that you listened to and how it affected you, but also the political resonances of people getting up and marching for the first time and actually sort of getting out and speaking their minds. And so this plays into all of those like ideals of the perfect gig.
Yeah, no, definitely on that. For folks who don't understand what's going on, because we are talking about spies, we're talking about back in the day, we're talking about family too, and this is actually a story from, if I'm correct, one of the producers is actually his story.
Yeah, the character I play, Ruby, is based on one of the executive producers, Tom Cox's mother, yes, who was a woman of incredible courage, and she had her sons in Canada. She was American, and they were American. They came to Canada, and she was a political activist, and she helped draft dodgers, and she did all kinds of things, and they were at political rallies every week, and she was just an incredible firebrand of a woman that was really on the front lines of change, of what was happening during that time. And so this show is based around her, and then our lovely writer, creator of our show, Andrew Reggett, created this rich world in a time that was so electric politically. It was so charged with not only what was happening in the States with the Vietnam War, but then Pierre Trudeau in 1968 allowed draft dodgers to come in. People who were going AWOL, he allowed them to come in. And so he created this haven in Canada for people to come to who could not stay in their home if they did not want to go to Vietnam, if they'd been drafted, or they were called, what was it called? You go back for a second term?
Stop loss.
Stop loss. So it's such a beautiful time in Canadian history, mm-hmm, and such a tragic time in American history. And then just what was happening in the world with not only politically and what was going on with the Vietnam War, but what was happening with racism at the time. People were trying to segregation still existed then. It was still happening, and women's rights. I mean, all of these people were coming up and marching in the streets for all of these reasons. It was the first time in history that those things had come to the streets in that way, and we haven't resolved all of those issues, and I think that's why it has resonance now.
If she was holding the mic, she would have just dropped it.
No, definitely. But this really is a part of Canadian history I don't think I have ever seen, whether it be in documentary or as a series.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't think this is a story we've heard before, at least this side of it. The groundwork of what was happening outside of Vietnam, especially around the world and in Canada. I didn't know about this stuff until I started researching for the project. And to be honest, it makes me proud as a Canadian to learn about this history. It's pretty damn cool. Yeah. And I'm so excited and love being a part of this show.
And I don't think this series could have been made in any other place but Canada, by Canadians. I don't think Americans would have made this.
Not what's going on right now. There is no way. I was going to ask you, talk about how your character tells the story.
Well, he's got quite the interesting little unraveling that happens throughout the season. Because, we start with a pretty basic soldier who's doing his duty and what he thinks he should do as an American citizen and following in his father's footsteps and what he thinks is right. And his eyes are slowly widened to this world that he didn't really understand before, that maybe the government isn't right about everything they tell us to do. Maybe this isn't a battle we should be in. He's got such a cool journey because he's going through, PTSD, loses his best friend. He's working under the CIA, who he thought would never do something bad to him, but now they've got him addicted to drugs. They're blackmailing him. It's a pretty neat, fun ride that Travis goes on throughout the year.
And,
Thanks to me.
I was going to say, and everything we're seeing,
Thanks for the heroin, bro.
Yeah. I created that storyline for you, man.
I gave you this life.
even though we are talking about, like, this is real. This is everything we're seeing story-wise and everything else. These are things that have happened to individuals.
Yeah, and you know, it's the best drama is always based in reality, isn't it? And you have to fictionalize it in order to make it into entertainment. Otherwise, it would be a documentary. But what Andrew has taken is this sort of framework and the fundamental ideas of Ruby's character, a young character like Travis, the CIA trying to find out, you know, in conjunction with the FBI, how all these people were getting across the border and how they were getting hidden, and where they were going to, and trying to stop that funnel from you know, literally trying to block that funnel from happening. So yeah, all of this stuff's happened, but we do it in a way where we play the music of the time. You know, you get to see something, you know, it's always fun doing a period drama because you know, from the prop department on, you know, like they had to create how the tape recorders would work and how tapping would work and how, all of that beautiful stuff. And they had to build those things because some of those things don't exist anymore. And all of those little tiny details really help to kind of create this beautiful world, whether it be spying or...
You realize you're going to ruin things now when people put those tape recorders on Facebook and they go, "Kids, what is this?" Now they're going to know what it is.
That's right. That's right.
There's a scene that I saw in one of the clips. There's a protest going on, and was that you being arrested? Your character being arrested?
Yeah.
What was that like for that intensity in having all that stuff going on, police grabbing you? I mean, and to play that role in a scene like that.
It was fully exciting. I mean, I dream only to be as brave as my character is. You know, a woman who is not afraid to be arrested, not afraid to say what she thinks. I mean, I try to be like that, but she's really like that. You know, as somebody who's on the front lines of change, bravely just standing up to authority because she is driven to do that from a moral basis of knowing that she wants to create a better world for her children. And there is a better way, and this is wrong, and she's not willing to sit down about it. It's who I aspire to be. I'm not quite there, but I aspire to be that way.
What do you hope that viewers are going to get from the series?
A little bit of everything, honestly, and I think the show really does offer a lot to a wide range. I think that it'll be nostalgic for people looking back and reminiscing on some of the stuff, and I think it'll be a great history lesson for younger people. I think there's a fun, you know, the Ralph Destiny dynamic's going to be fun, and the drug hippie love days, you know. There's going to be the spy element, there's a thriller element. There really is something for everyone, and I think it's a pretty damn fun ride.
I'm going to let you end it off, same thing. What are you hoping that fans will get?
I mean, I couldn't put it much better than that. I think that, you know, the one thing I would hope is that by maybe putting something up on the screen that encourages people to stand up, you know, that that watching people stand up and fight for what they believe maybe encourages 1 in 100 to do that. That would be something that would be aspirational.
Or even to just provoke thought.
Yeah, just think
I mean,
about it. You know, whatever we think might be the right way.
I'm just helping you, Steve. You know?
Whatever we think is the right thing because we've been taught it's the right thing, or we've been told that it's the right thing. We've been indoctrinated to say this is the way. Maybe think about that and think about what really is the right thing.
Cannot wait to see this, folks. Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thanks,
so
Rudy.
much.